Do you feel inflamed? Are your feet swelling? If this is your case or you know someone with these symptoms, pay close attention to me because this video is for you. Stay until the end because we are going to develop this topic step by step in such a way that you can begin to identify what your cause may be. If this can be related to something that you are doing in your daily life, it is the vision of this channel to educate objectively to stimulate prevention with a fundamental way and rescue your total well-being. Before continuing, support us by subscribing to this channel. Activate the bell so that whenever we make new content you can find it more easily and you can also share it with the rest of the people in your community. Entering the subject, the first thing I am going to tell you is do not rush. Many people seek to take a diuretic, and although it may seem like a very logical solution, this action can be much more dangerous than the problem itself. This is all about understanding what the underlying cause is. The first thing we have to remember is where this liquid comes from. This liquid can mainly come from two roots. First of all, from the blood. Blood is made up mainly of water, which gives the red color to the blood on the red blood cells. In general, the body is made up of 60% water. If we go deeper, we have water within the aqueous vessels, arteries, veins, and the lymphatic system. We have water within the cells and we have water between the cells. The cells swim in a liquid called the extracellular fluid. It is there where we have 60% of our body's fluid, which is mainly water. This content that is inside the alkaline vessels can leak out into the fluid that is between the cells, which is the extracellular fluid. That is where the liquid is inside. It can also happen that this liquid leaks through the veins, due to mechanisms such as when a thrombosis is formed, because the venous system, when there is poor circulation, the flow is blocked, that causes the liquid to leak out, as well as another of the causes that can occur is through the lymphatic system, due to changes in the biochemistry of the body, such as sodium or the amount of protein that we have in the body. They can cause liquid to come out of our lymphatic system or liquid to come out of our venous system, and we end up retaining liquid mainly in the lower limbs. Another condition that can happen is that the cells, due to changes in electrolytes, in amounts of glucose or in different conditions, can lose fluid to the external space, to the extracellular or interstitial space, and cause the cell to become dehydrated, to become like a grape dehydrated, and that liquid remains outside. This can also end up doing that condition. As you can see, the conditions are multiple. Now yes, let's talk a little more deeply about all this. So, what are the most frequent causes? The most frequent causes that can occur in this is everything that leads me to retain fluid by any mechanism. If I go to a place where I am very cold, very hot, that will increase circulation to my skin and that will cause it to dilate a little and cause fluid to leak out of the blood vessels. Outside, as well as the adult change to the heights can also generate exactly the same. Among other conditions such as pregnancy, they can also lead to some fluid retention. Women, when they have changes in their menstrual cycle, can cause them to have a little more fluid retention. People who have an excessive consumption of salt. I do not mean by this that we have to be afraid of salt. It is the excessive consumption of salt on a daily basis. This can cause these types of conditions to appear. Excessive alcohol consumption can also lead to fluid retention. If I have foot injuries because I had a blow, a sprain, a fracture, that can also cause me to have fluid retention. Another cause is the improper functioning of the valves of the veins located in the legs, also called venous insufficiency, that causes inflammation and changes in the skin due to fluid retention in the lower limbs. This causes the blood to not be able to rise properly towards the heart, but instead begins to accumulate below, which will cause this liquid to leak out of the venous system towards the extracellular tissue. The other thing is heart failure, which is exactly the same mechanism. The heart is a muscle. It is the natural pump par excellence that helps the body to circulate properly. Like any muscle, when it fatigues, in this case very commonly due to uncontrolled hypertension, it causes it to recreate. In medical terms we call it cardiomegaly. This pathology causes our heart to pump much more smoothly and gradually lose its pumping power, causing delays or slowing down of our blood supply, which in turn will generate fluid retention due to poor circulation in the lower limbs. If I have a kidney problem where blood filtration towards urine production is not adequate and I am not purifying properly, this can cause you to end up with edema or swollen feet. And among the specific nutrients that could help us, of the ones that I am going to name you are, for example, potassium, magnesium. People who are chronically deficient in potassium and magnesium like we have today in the vast majority of the population in the Western world. And this why? Because we have a very poor diet and very low in vegetables, very low in fruits, very low in nuances and seeds. We live consuming ultra-processed foods that stop having adequate potassium and magnesium. Magnesium and potassium deficiency can make our feet swell, but we must consume magnesium and potassium from adequate sources such as magnesium citrate or potassium citrate. A combination of these can help us to have better diuresis, and there it can help us precisely to reduce the swelling of the skin, but also in vitamins B6 that can help us in this process. And my always elite recommendation, green tea works. The catechins and green tea compounds help to have diuresis a little more frequently. All these recommendations can you follow while you evaluate with your doctor what is happening, because it could be something as simple as a cold climate change to a warm climate. And that's it, nothing else has happened, but you have to understand why. That if this becomes something recurring, if this becomes something that was not part of your life, you are not having infections, or traumas, or returning, or changes in altitude, or temperature, and this begins to happen, seek medical help. And finally, please remember to share this content, because this may be happening to many of your relatives and acquaintances, and so we can also help more people find this information and in turn grow in this community and life in balance. We want to continue striving to provide health content in a simple but correct way. Before you go, please remember, like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell for me, and I send you a big hug from our part of the world, and until next time. Bye.